Rimworld 1.5 is in full swing, and already we have so many great mods, over 12,000 at the time of recording, and the only bad side that I can see of this is that there are over 12,000 mods already. Unfortunately, because there are so many mods that have already been updated to 1.5, unfortunately we're going to miss out on a lot of mods and a lot of mod creators that need to be supported for their small mods that they are creating. And today I found a very good mod that I think deserves a lot of support from you guys specifically, introducing the footstep generator, a concept that I genuinely didn't think I'd ever see on Rimworld, but it makes sense with kill boxes, with kill circles and triangles and all the different shapes that we can get from kill boxes and everything. It makes a lot of sense, and for passive generation, it's a fantastic mod. Let's get into things and start with the content. So let's start by looking at the content of the Steam Workshop page. Now, I'd like to think I'm a little bit of a connoisseur when it comes to the Steam Workshop pages. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know what works well, I know what doesn't work well. So when I loaded into this mod, I see a decent thumbnail, I see a little showcase video, perfect, great so far. And then I scroll down and what do I see? Not very much. What I don't expect from a Steam Workshop page is that this mod creator's own self-promo to take up more space than the description for the mod that he's actually putting out. So far, this is not good. I want to see pictures, I want to see more descriptions, I want to see the recipes on how to make the items in the game, I want to see compatibility, and I want to see how this mod can actually be used. For a concept that is so unique and for a mod that is so small and definitely needs some more attention, I want to see more advertisement here. So far, we need some improvement. So there doesn't seem much added in the Steam Workshop page, and that actually follows suit with the rest of the content in this mod. What does this look like in game? Well, we have two items that have been added, a 3x3 square footstep generator and a 2x2 square footstep generator as well. That is it. What I'm actually surprised at already is not seeing a 1x1 square here, and even a 5x5 square or a 3x2 rectangle. It seems that we've only got two shapes. Why have we only got two shapes when bases can take all different shapes and forms? We needed some more content actually added here, especially for something that is so small. I want as much variety as I can possibly get. So how does the footstep generator thing work? So what we do is we grab our colonist, or any pawn of that matter, and you get them to walk over it. Every time a colonist lays a footstep on top of one of these tiles, they generate 50 watts. So what this means is that if you have several colonists walking at the same time, you could generate 50 by however many colonists that are stepping over a certain tile at a time. Now, thankfully or unthankfully, Rimworld doesn't have any feet mods, because I would definitely be using that with this mod just to see them dogs exercise. Now, that's going to be it for the content of this mod. Now, I will say, funnily enough, as you can tell, there's not much here. My expectations for this mod that it provides the bare basics and it provides a really good framework for the continual development of this mod. What I want to see as an immediate improvement to this mod is a 1x1 tile. The 3x3, 2x2, where's the 1x1? It's kind of missing this extra step. What we've got here for content is something that is very player dependent. What you can do with this mod is totally down to you, and it provides the framework for an extremely interesting gameplay aspect and something that you can just chuck in any old mod pack and it will work really, really well. But as I've said, there's not enough here. I've not got enough variety of the footstep generators. Only having 3x3 and 2x2 is very, very strange. And why do we not have 1x1 tiles? So I think for content at this current stage, I'm going to be giving it a 4 out of 10. It's not meeting my bare minimum requirements of at least having the variety that I can use in every single situation. As soon as there is a immediate adding of a 1x1 tile or just some different variety, my rating will definitely go up in a future review if I re-review this mod. Next, let's move on to the quality section of this review. I'm not sure how to do this review. What I've done here is recorded me zooming in on the two footstep tile generators, 3x3, 2x2. Graphically, they do the job. If you zoom in too far, there's a lot of pixels on your screen, but it does the job. I mean, if you're zooming in really, really far on your footstep generators and into the ground, there is going to be some issues with the texture quality here, but generally speaking, you're not going to be doing that. There's nothing else I can look at for the quality of this. There's not much else I'm honestly expecting. So I'm going to give it a very middle 5 out of 10, just because there's not too much I can look at here. Obviously, if there was more, I could give it a different review, or if there was even less or some real issues with texture quality, I could give it less than 5 out of 10, but yeah, cool. So next, let's get into the balancing. Now, this mod so far isn't performing the best. So what I want here is the power generation that's created by these footstep generators to make sense and be able to be not overpowering into your game, but something you're going to actually use. let's get into things and let's start with the general power generation. So in order for me to test what the kind of maximum power output I'm going to be getting from these footstep generators, I thought I'd take part in some good old-fashioned American battery farming. What I've done here is I've gathered myself 182 emus and put them in a fenced off area. All the emus are standing on 6 3x3 footstep generators. So theoretically, we'll be gathering 50 times 182 emus in order to generate 9,100 watts every time they move. That's a lot of power. That is an absolute shed load of power. This isn't taking into account the amount of food it takes to feed them and to keep them alive and, you know, give them a general quality of life. What I've then done is connected this to a power switch, so we've not got this turned on at all, then got this connected to a empty battery. So when the colonist turns this on, we can see that this singular battery is powering up pretty quickly. And we've also got a grid excess of only roughly 4,000 watts. Yes, this fluctuates higher and lower than 4,000, but kind of on average 4,000. So we're not even getting half the amount of power output that should be expected from 182 emus. So is this balanced? Probably, because it's probably way too easy to just put loads of animals in one little space and then make them generate an absolute shed load of power. The power fluctuations shows that this is actually working and that every time the emu moves, yes, they are generating 50 watts. But realistically, who's having 182 emus in order to generate 4,000 watts of energy? So far, this is looking good. So next to what I wanted to show was what happens if I take those 182 emus and give them some quality of life adjustments. What if we gave them an area to actually move around in freely? What if we gave them a little farming area? What I've done is doubled the area of space they've been given whilst not increasing the amount of footstep generators. So we've doubled the area, but not doubled the amount of footstep generators. So what we expect here is there is then going to be a decrease of half the amount of power generated. And if we turn on the switch and then connect it to an empty battery again, that is correct. The 4,000 watts that we were previously generated has immediately halved to roughly around 2,000, so with some fluctuations above and below. So it does seem that no matter how many animals you do put in a certain area, it will always roughly generate half what you're expecting. So this definitely isn't a reliable power source that you should be relying on. Something you'll just kind of put around in certain places and generate power depending on what the highest foot traffic it is. Then last but not least, for looking at the footstep generators themselves, let's look at the resource cost. So the footstep generator that is 3x3 costs 70 steel and 2 components. And what the 2x2 footstep generator costs 45 steel and 2 components. I think that the steel cost is perfect, makes great sense. You're getting a power output, should definitely cost resources. The component cost, I'm not too sure on. I'd like to either see maybe only one component cost or increase the amount of power I'm getting, because I don't think this is worth 2 components. Otherwise, makes great sense. So that's going to be it for the balancing of this mod, and so far I'm very, very impressed at this. Looking at the resource cost, yes, it's arguably a little bit high, especially in terms of components. I'd maybe like to see components completely removed from the recipe, potentially have uranium instead, kind of have that power generation vibe as well. Could be a very nice addition, just maybe have a couple of uranium and some steel. The power output itself though, it's great. Like I showed in my example of 182 emus potentially providing 9,100 watts, it just doesn't do that. And in a realistic scenario in your actual playthroughs, it will never ever generate that much power and will never ever replace wood-fire generators, chem fuels, solar panels, even geothermal generators, and just any power source. This is a fantastic mod for if you've got a high traffic area and you want to generate a little bit of extra resources. This is perfect for it. I can see absolutely no issues with balancing in terms of the power output, unless you're really abusing this with a massive battery farm, and you'd never do that, would you? So for balancing, I'm very content at giving this a 9 out of 10, only being marked down for the fact that the component cost seems a little bit high and a little bit weird for this mod. Next, compatibility. So next, let's look at the compatibility of this mod. Are there any bugs I need to let you know about, and how this fit in with your playthroughs? Now, in terms of bugs, I usually go through the Steam Workshop page and see if anybody's reported any bugs. There is literally 4 comments at the time of recording for this mod, then nothing has been reported in terms of bugs. Now, me personally, during my playtime with this, I generally experienced no issues at all. However, what I noticed was that because this is not classed as a flaw, this is classed as a power item and something you have to put down manually. Now, because of this, despite this being something that you walk over and it looks like a floor, it's not actually a floor. Weird conspiracy, I know that the floors are not really floors, but you know, that's just how it is. So what I've done here is I've got myself a nice little base here. I've put down some footstep generators outside. What happens is that I put down a sofa on top of these, you know, have your sofa outside, very American hillbilly vibes, and it just deletes the footstep generator. Like, I can't put things on top of the footstep generator. Kind of annoying, especially when you want to put this in like a recreation room, or maybe have it in like your hydroponics bay for when your people are doing work and stuff. Definitely a change I'd like to see further down the line. Maybe have this as an actual floor rather than something that's placed. How does this work within your playthroughs? Now, funnily enough, this will not work within the tribal or medieval era. Who would have thought? Now, this mod fits perfectly in an industrial playstyle, and I'm not too sure if it fits in with the sci-fi or not. This mod would really benefit from a playstyle that is very sort of animal/slave oriented. Anyway that you can make a lot of pawns move around in a certain area very quickly, forced or unforced. And here are a few situations I think that would fit best. So here I have probably the most ideal scenario for this mod. Here I have set up 9 very hungry cows, and between them and some lovely hay are some footstep generators. Now, what I'll do here is remove the fences and they'll go straight for the food, walking over the footstep generators. And this does unfortunately generate a very, 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 very small amount of energy, but it's still energy that you can use in a different situation. You can lock it up in the battery, move it and take it somewhere else, and for certain situations it does work. And you can also use this in other scenarios, have loads of guinea pigs, have loads of rats, and do this in one way or another to separate the animals from the food and get them to go over these footstep generators in order to achieve automation in that regard. The next playstyle that I wanted to explore with this mod is raids. How will this work with mods such as Winston Waves, Raid for me? How will I be able to utilize raiders to make power for me and get a little bit of extra out of my kill boxes? So what I've done here is I've set up a little snake here to send the raiders through in order to generate a little bit of power, or just show that power is generated from raiders as well. Now, before I started recording this, I thought, oh well, makes perfect sense. I could just show this off nice and quick and easy. And what I want to remind you of is that these footstep generators are placeable structures. They're not floors, these are placeable items that you build and put down. Now, when the raiders approach, they seem to be going after my emus, they seem to be going after some batteries and stuff, and what they seem to be doing as well is attacking the snake itself. It's attacking the footstep generators and not actually going through it, and they're also setting fire to it, which is a little bit annoying. Now, if you ignore all the emus that are revenging on all of the various tribals, you can see that it's just not really working. The footstep generators are just being attacked and the raiders are not going over them, and we're not generating power as a result. Now, I understand that this is probably because we've placed down the footstep generators rather than building them as floors, so they're under different things and they can be attackable by raiders. I don't know how we can fix this, but this is a huge issue for me, and most people are going to be wanting to use this in killbox scenarios and snakes and be able to get the most out of it in every situation. This is definitely an update that needs to be provided by the mod creator, or have some clarification in the Steam Workshop page and be like, hey, look, it doesn't work in this scenario. This should only be used with animals and friendly pawns. But hey, it's just how it is. So overall, for compatibility, I'm pretty mixed on this. Yes, it does work in a lot of farming situations with friendly pawns and slaves and animals and stuff, but it doesn't work for raiders. And yes, I can't build anything on top of them because they're placeable structures rather than floors. So we have some very big positives here for gameplay and compatibility and play styles, but we also have some pretty bad things here that are going to lead to some problems that you're definitely going to have with this mod. I think overall from compatibility, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because I do really like the gameplay stuff that I can get out of this. I just need to see some updates coming as to why it works the way it works, but overall, it's still just not there yet. So next, let's look at my mod recommendations. Now, initially for my mod recommendations here, I had a lot of raid-based mods, and that was before I tested this mod to its full capabilities. So I've unfortunately changed a lot of these mods to be animal-based mods. So let's start with the tribals always sell slaves, because I mean you can just get slaves to do that anyway. Next, draftable animals to force your animals to walk over the footstep generators and generate more power. The orbital animal traders, just so we can buy even more animals to to use them for the power, zoological trader caravans for, once again, more animals for you to get, and the nocturnal animals continued mod, so we can have footstep generator farms for morning and night, and to have that running 24/7. Unfortunately, the mods that I can recommend are very niche, and that was niched by the fact that we could only generate power from friendly pawns and animals, which is a huge restriction that's been placed on this mod that initially has so much freedom perceived. I think if this mod gets updated to make it so hostile pawns don't attack the footstep generators itself, it completely opens it up and would literally double my score for the mod recommendation sections. And as a result, I'm only going to be giving it a 5 out of 10, literally because it halved my expectations. I would have given it a 10 otherwise. So where am I at with this mod? In conclusion, I'm not too sure. In some regards, this mod is extremely good and provides an extremely unique gameplay aspect that I don't think I've ever seen before. Being able to use this footstep generators for your farm animals, friendly pawns and slaves, it's super cool at doing that. The power generation you get from that isn't enough to change your gameplay, but it's enough just to subsidize what you're already doing, and I like that from this. But what I don't like is the lack of being able to use this in raids. The fact that it's not giving me a 1x1 footstep generator, which just really confuses me. There's a few parts of this mod that I think definitely need to be improved in order for this to be a staple in all of your playthroughs. I think if we give this mod creator this chance and support them and give them our feedback and tell them what we think of this mod and suggest for ways to improve it, that is the best way for us to get this mod the recognition I think it deserves. So for content, I gave it 4 out of 10, quality 5 out of 10, balancing 9 out of 10, for compatibility 6 out of 10, mod recommendations 5 out of 10, giving it the grand total score of 29 out of 50, which is a very high C rated mod. Like I said, I think if this mod creator is given the chance to develop their mod and we've shown them enough support and give them confidence in what they do, this mod could be fantastic. A staple for pretty much any playthroughs that are raid reliant and farm animal reliant as well. A few small changes here and some more additions would elevate this mod from a C tier all the way up to an A tier. We're just not there yet. So don't base your opinion on what I've said though. Please, I highly recommend you check out this mod and give the mod creators some feedback as well. So if you enjoyed today's mod review, consider liking, subscribing, and make sure you tell your mum about me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.